In 1983, Dr. Selli Menachemson married her husband Allan in Johannesburg, South Africa. After 6 years of marriage, the couple was still childless.
It was a really, really difficult time for us. Then we went to America for a holiday, and we went to 770, and we went into the line to meet the Rebbe, and we knew we had to go there to ask a question. But as you all know how overwhelming it is, so firstly I went, and I came through and asked for a bracha. I just said I'm from South Africa, and at that stage the Rebbe was giving a $2 for people from South Africa, and that was over. So I went to Allan and I said, listen, it's your time, you have to ask.
That's what gives to charity for your life and have good news.
We came back to South Africa very excited about this, but obviously things didn't work out quite the same way. And so we followed two routes. The first was to have infertility treatment, and at the time they were doing something called GIFT. It was very difficult, things weren't happening, and we went to child welfare to look at the adoption process. And I just thought before we adopt the child, because it's going to take time anyway, I'll try one more treatment. And this was really going to be my last, which I did, and landed up with another ectopic pregnancy from the treatment. And by then, we were very disheartened, both of us, and kind of, there was this bracha that we were excited about, but didn't seem to be there. And while I was ill, Rochel came to visit me, and she said, just write to the Rebbe. I said, no, we've been there, we've done it. She said, just write and tell, just listen to me. Anyway, so I said to Allan, just write to the Rebbe. He also wasn't that keen, but he did. And we wrote a letter telling him that we had had this gift and the ectopic pregnancy, and Allan asked, we'd appreciate you giving a bracha for children as well as for a refuah shlema. I was still ill from the ectopic pregnancy. And we sent the letter. And a couple of days later, Allan gets this funny fax on his machine, and he thinks it's a joke because the writing is like quite strange. And he thinks, what is all this about? And we look at it more carefully, and it's actually from Rabbi Groner, who was the Rebbe's secretary. The following is the response of the Rebbe. Number 1, is gift permissible according to the Shulchan Aruch? Number 2, your mother's name. And number 3, I will mention you in prayer. So this was amazing. This was really something. So obviously we wrote back, and we answered the questions regarding gift. Rabbi Kurstag, who's head of the Beth Din here, told us that was permissible according to Shulchan Aruch. And then he just put in the last sentence, should we adopt a child? So the response that we got back said, continue to do the gift. And he said he would pray for us. Regarding the adoption, al pi halacha. This was a couple of months after this, and we were now had a baby that we were about to adopt, and that was within about a few weeks, 4 weeks coming up. And suddenly, I'm late. So I thought, no, this can't really be anything. So being a doctor, I took my own blood test and was quite astounded by what the result was, because, I'd had some positive results before for the ectopic pregnancies, but never the amount, the level to which this was. So we took it to our gynecologist, and he said, look, just hold on. We don't know if it's an ectopic yet or not, but, just give it a little bit of time. It's okay. Don't give up your adoption, and hang on a second. Anyway, we came to speak to Rabbi Goldman. This was now just before Shavuot in 1992. Shavuot was on a Saturday night. This was the Thursday night, and he wrote a letter to the Rebbe, and he requested what we should do on his behalf, which he then sent through. By this time, the Rebbe had already had his first stroke, but there were some people that were getting some responses from him. So Rabbi Goldman faxed the letter right through, and he got a phone call the next day to say cancel the adoption. And that was when we cancelled the adoption, and I never was worried that there was going to be anything wrong with the pregnancy. In fact, to the extent that I actually didn't have the baby scanned or anything like that. I didn't have scans during my pregnancy. And thank God, 8 months later, we had a child.